have warned that they are facing a significant problem from people refusing to have the COVID-19 vaccine. Councillor Rabina Khan is Liberal Democrat councillor for Shadwell Ward in Tower Hamlets and joins me this morning. Councillor, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa. Thank
This
you for
must
having
be
me.
so worrying for you and so distressing for everybody concerned, all the volunteers, the medical personnel, those people who have struggled and battled to get the COVID vaccine into your area, and then the people who are most at need and most, desperately need to be inoculated are refusing the vaccine. Can you explain why and what you think is going wrong or going on here?
First of all, Vanessa, I'd like to thank the NHS staff and GPs. I've just recently recovered from COVID and I know the enormous problems and the situation we are all in. Up my road is the London Hospital and that's overwhelmed with people with COVID patients. Now, one of the things that's concerning me is the misleading information from suggestions someone's DNA or you could be injected with a microchip. So that's the kind of Facebook posts to baseless WhatsApp messages. This misleading information is causing a lot of problems amongst people and it's making them feel fearful of the injection of the vaccine. It's making them feel afraid. And I think that we need to have a strong, consistent message to make sure that we can reach these communities and make sure that they have the right information. Everyone has the right to question about anything related to a vaccine, but it's important that they get the right information. And those people who are spreading rumours and baseless messages and suggestions, they are actually irresponsible, almost criminal, because they are putting people's lives at risk. And I think it's important to remember that there's been some very important research at the moment because the Royal Society of Public Health found that 57% of BAME people were reluctant, were happy to take the vaccine. And then we've also got this other gap where 14% of Londoners do not want to get vaccinated, which is the highest region for rejections. And I think what the government has to do is look to Germany. Now, Germany has done something very important. It's running a campaign called Sleeves Up as part of their vaccination programme. And it's doing that because it wants to build and foster a national effort in making sure the vaccine programme is rolled out effectively across the country. And I think for the government, because of the way they've been handling the crisis, which has been hampered from at times by confusion, chaotic decision-making, really needs to make sure that their messaging is strong and consistent and reaches those very, very hard to reach and marginalised communities. What we have to look at is that 75% of the nation is happy to be vaccinated and there is approximately 25%. Now, that also includes the wealth gap. 84% of high earners are likely to get vaccinated and 70% of low earners are unlikely to get vaccinated. And it all comes down to making sure that people have the right information, they have the right to ask questions and make sure that we can reach them. And for me, from the experience that I've had, Vanessa, is that I've seen a lot of irresponsible people spreading information, as I said, from people passing on messages that if you have the injection, your DNA will be changed, you'll be injected with a microchip, all of this kind of debate.
And let's just make it absolutely clear, that is utter nonsense. It's false, it's a lie, and it's disinformation, not misinformation. It's not someone who's made a mistake. It's people deliberately setting out to disseminate false information. And you might wonder, if you are from a minority ethnic community, why people would give out this kind of false information. Is it because they don't want to save your life, perhaps? And if that's the reason, then for God's sake, don't give them the opportunity to discriminate against you. The whole point about this vaccine is it's not the rich people who get it first. It's not the people with university degrees in big houses who get it first. It's not, as we're hearing this morning, even Londoners who get it first. It's meant to be rolled out on an absolutely equal basis, that everybody who's of a certain age, everybody on the front line working in a care home gets the vaccine now because they need it most. That's all. So everybody should go and get it, shouldn't they? I mean, that's the whole point of this.
Yes.
So I mean, do you want, for example, Rabina, to call upon, the people who are most trusted in various communities, whether it's imams, whether it's priests, pastors, who is it? Who is it that people will listen to? I mean, we had a lovely caller just earlier. She's about to take her mum, and her mum worked in the NHS. She's a woman from Caribbean background, and she said that her mum, well over 80, has been educating and explaining to her friends and saying to them, you must come and get it. It's life-saving. Please get it. The polio vaccine. No one's got polio in this country anymore. It's because of the vaccine. So please come and get it. And this is a woman in her 80s having to explain to her friends. Now, they trust her. She's their friend. They know she wouldn't say anything bad to them, and they know she worked in the NHS. But who are the people who should be galvanising right now, mobilising and making it known to these people who are reluctant to get vaccinated that it's the only way to guarantee they're not going to die of COVID? Who should be doing this?
You're absolutely right. It's local government, local community, faith leaders, people like myself, which I've been doing, talking to people, making sure that they go out there. My mum is an example who's going out there to get her vaccine.
Great.
It's when you have someone from that community and from that background giving them that information, making sure that they go out there and get vaccinated, the most important thing that we can all do is to ensure that people get the correct information, they get the right information, and they don't feel that sense of fear that if we get vaccinated, this will happen. And to all the people out there spreading misinformation, putting out mistruths, you are responsible for putting people's lives at risk.
Absolutely.
Stop
blood on your hands.
It's almost criminal.
Absolutely. It's about almost. I don't know why you think it's almost criminal. If people could potentially die as a result of what you're saying, which is not true, that's criminal, isn't it? You're exposing people to a risk of death that they don't have to have. I mean, it would be terrible, wouldn't it, if there was a vast chasm between the wealthy, the people with university degrees, the middle class who rush out and get the vaccine the second they're asked and are desperate for it, and the people who could have got it, they were offered it, and they just didn't take it. Wouldn't that be awful? Awful.
It would be. And I mean, the anti-vaccine rhetoric, it's not something that's a new phenomenon. In fact, it happened, if we recall, in the 19th century to the smallpox, when people and thousands of people were going out trying to stop the smallpox vaccination program. And when I remember I was talking to my mum, and she reminded me of the cholera problem that we had in Bangladesh all those years ago.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of message in telling